Adventure in Puntland on W4CY Radio.
This is Pipeman here on the Adventures Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest, Sean from INGESTED. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing good. So, are you like by your tour bus? It looks like you're like about ready to do a show, and you're here for this interview.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we've got bus call in like 30 minutes, then we head to the venue, and then we load in and start the day, basically.
Nice. So I'm very interested to begin with that there is a song that almost didn't make the album, and now it's like your go-to song. Tell us the story behind that and how that happened.
Are you talking specifically about Oaths Betrayed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of arranged to do about 8 or 9 songs for the album, and then we found ourselves having some extra time. We thought, why not just record, I had one in the back pocket and Drew had one in the back pocket. We thought, we'll just record these at the end of the session, then maybe we could just extend, once the album comes out, then 6 months later, we've got 2 singles to release, blah, blah, blah. But we found ourselves looking at the sequence and listening to the sequence of the album, and something was missing. And Oaths Betrayed slotted in perfectly, and there you go. It ended up being a 10-track album instead of 8 or 9.
Nice. And so I think the Oaths Betrayed song talks very much about the crap we're going through in the world right now. Is that pretty spot on?
I mean, I didn't write that one. Our drummer wrote the lyrics to that one, so only he can specifically tell you about that song. But I mean, when I've read it, I kind of get what you're saying. Is objectively, it kind of looks and seems that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is a lot of stuff to write music about nowadays. There's no shortage of things. It kind of reminds me we're back in the 80s and writing the same crap, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many original lyrics and riffs that you can do that have not really been done before. So I mean, I guess there's some truth into that. Yeah.
And the world is, it's on repeat. The world's on repeat. History does repeat itself. So
it goes in cycles, man.
Exactly. Your music's pretty badass. I want to know when it all started for you personally to know that this is what you wanted to do.
I mean, before I left high school, I was 15, 16, and they give you an interview with a careers advice person. And they kind of try and set you up for life after school, and they're like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to be in a band. And they kind of didn't take that any seriously. They said, well, you're going to need something more.
Yeah.
Not everyone can make it in a band. So I don't know, I guess, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Pantera, Chimera, watching their DVDs and stuff. I was just like, oh, this is what I want to do. And I think it's quite interesting that I set that kind of that mission statement when I was 15. And, now I'm nearly 40 and I'm still doing the same thing. So I guess it worked out somewhat, What?
That tells you not to listen to other people. Follow your own heart, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what was the feeling like that first time that you got on stage and did this?
Just nerves. Yeah, I didn't take to the stage very well for the first couple of years of the band. I just felt nervous, and back then the shows were really small anyway. And it's kind of felt insignificant, if you will. But obviously the band persevered, and we managed to have opportunities to play really big shows. And now it's like another day at work.
Yeah. Well, and I gotta say, what you experienced, and that's why I asked that, because the listeners need to know it, that's not so uncommon. Most musicians I've ever known in my life are introverted and or have stage fright, if you're going to call it stage fright.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone gets the nerves, just that you can get in your own head in terms of trying to perform, don't fuck up, etc. So, it comes with experience, though. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. But I mean, there are occasions where I still get those nerves, those butterflies. It's
Yeah.
not very often, but there are occasions where, I still get that feeling, even 20 years, 25 years down the line.
I feel that because, like, I do this, but I also do motivational speaking. And anytime I turn the mic on stage or on radio or on podcasts, right before I turn the mic on, I always have nervousness. Like, I've done over 3,000 interviews still every time before I turn. I'm like, oh, I hope I don't fuck this up. Oh, I don't do this. I don't do it. But the minute that mic turns on, there's a switch in my head. Like I'm in a zone and it's like I'm a different person.
Yeah. Confidence, it comes with experience, like I said before.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it makes sense, like, too, when you're an early band and you're playing the small shows. To me, it's way more nerve-wracking to play to 10 people than it is to 10,000.
I mean, it's something like maybe so, maybe true. I suppose with 10 people, there's a hell of a lot of focus on you, and it's just that small group of people. But I think maybe you're right. You can look over it and look at 10,000 people, and then you don't really see individual people. It's just
right.
a crowd. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas there's 10 people, you're looking at these specific people. But I think there's maybe a bit of truth in that.
Yeah, and you have that focus of their eyes are on you when there's this crowd of 10,000. Like, you don't really notice that. It just looks like one big crowd. It doesn't look like anything specific,
Yeah, man.
And so tell us what we went behind this new album, how it may be the same as in the past, but also different.
Yeah, I mean, we went with an intent to write something heavy and groovy, like much more. What we did when we first started, it was that youthful kind of reckless attitude to writing heavy music, and I think over the years we've experimented a little bit. We've got complacent, so you kind of like start doing different choices, especially in the last two albums that we did, and I just felt like it was time to a bit of a return to form, if you will. So yeah, the intent was to write something groovy and heavy, and just a collection of songs that would be punishing live in a live situation.
Nice. Where's your favorite place to play live ever? Do you have one?
I mean, there's certain cities that will stick out and they're always decent, but picking a favorite would be very difficult for me. I don't know. I mean,
what cities then?
Obviously, like a hometown show is cool. Manchester in the UK and London in the UK. Weirdly enough, Edmonton in Canada has always been amazing. We've played there 3 times over the years, and each one has been insane. Yeah. Typical places like LA are usually good. Up in Worcester, up that way. Worcester was that was the standout show from the whole tour. To be honest, we came through the Palladium about a week and a half ago, and 2 tours met up, so it was split over the 2 stages, and we played the small room. And originally, I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get to play the large room, but it worked out in our favour because, the fans upstairs in that small room were going nuts, going absolute bananas. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I find that sometimes too. Like I do coverage at music festivals all over the U.S., UK, Europe, and I was just doing one recently called Hell's Heroes. And it had like the main stage, a couple main stages, but that because it was at a club type place that had this upstairs small room, and that was where I was spending a lot of my time because man, those shows were insane. And how does that feel for you as an artist? Like you start playing the bigger gigs when you go back to club shows. Is it kind of like nostalgic or more fun because you haven't done it in a while?
I mean, that's kind of normal for us playing a small club show. I mean, big club shows are kind of rare. It depends what sort of tour you're on. I mean, this tour's been fortunate. There's been some big rooms and stuff. But I always remember, like 3 years ago, we did Lorna Shore in the US, then Cannibal Corpse in Europe, and then at the end of the year, we did Lorna Shore in Europe. So I knew as soon as we got that first Lorna Shore tour, and then we had those two to follow, I was like, this is going to be one of the biggest, things we do in a long time. And it's funny how like you just get used to it. You're playing, 2,000 cap rooms, 3,000 cap rooms, and it almost got normal, which was weird. And then obviously going back to a normal tour where, sort of venues we should fill, it was like, oh, okay, there's like a 80% decrease in crowd here, but yeah, I mean, we're used to that. That's kind of our bread and butter, is those small club shows, and when you get the opportunity to a bigger show, it's always cool.
And that's where you get your loyal fans anyway, to smaller shows, because they feel like so connected to you, because it is an intimate setting. So I know Brian Slagle from way back, from the beginning of Metal Blade, and I love that here in 2026 he's still keeping metal so relevant. How do you like being on Metal Blade Records as an artist?
Yeah, it's been really easy. I mean, the A&R rep at Metal Blade at the time who signed us was the ex-bass player from Black Dahlia, which we toured with 16 years ago. So the conversation to get on the label was very, very simple. It was, Metal Blade, we can offer you this. And we said, we can provide this. Okay, let's go. And that was it. It's that simple. The thing about Metal Blade that was different from our previous labels was the amount of people working in the label. There's someone to do a certain job, like, whereas in like the smaller labels, it's kind of one or two people doing all of it. But, we had very specific people to do specific jobs. Like it was really impressive. And, it's all been smooth since. We've got one more album left on the contract, and, we'll see what happens after that.
Nice. Well, the one thing about Slagle, too, he's a true metalhead. Like, sometimes record labels you're dealing with, they don't understand our genre of music, and I think it's important to have somebody that runs a label to understand metal music and the musicians in metal music.
For sure. You don't want just some suit running it here with no passion for what he's doing. But, I've been fortunate enough to meet Brian before. Very cool dude, very, very passionate about music. Just a great dude all around, man. So it's a privilege to work underneath, his label.
Yeah, when I was a teenager in the early 80s, I would go to, he was a record store clerk at this place in the Valley in LA called Oz Records. And that's when he started Metal Blade. And so we would go in there and he'd say, hey, you got to listen to this. Hey, you got to listen to it. And most of the bands I like today are because of Brian Slagle, but also the brilliance of how he promoted his bands on the label, and he's he's not in it for the business. Like a few years ago, I saw him at a thing and I was like, man, that was brilliant what you did years ago. Like, if I think about it now, he goes, I was just a record store clerk. Like he's totally humble about it, but it's totally true. He was just like a record store clerk that had a passion for metal and saw that industry was not being serviced. And now look at where we are today.
Well, there you go. Like, they're one of the most prestigious labels around, I think one of the few labels that are still independent, before everyone else sell their soul to a fucking big corporation. At least Metal Blade is still doing it the way they do, and it's a matter of respect.
And what I love too is some of the bands that started on Metal Blade and went to the other big labels ended up going back to Metal Blade, because when you play metal, I think you need that type of label, because then they understand you, Well,
this is it though. You can be in a massive label and be a small fish in a big pond, or be a big fish in a small pond. So you're going to get the attention. If you're a big band and you go for a label like Metal Blade, you're going to get the attention that you want. So,
And they're not going to try to change your music too. That's another thing I saw a lot of. Record labels telling bands how to play music. I think everybody has a spot like you're talking about before, but leave the creativity to the musicians is my viewpoint.
Yeah, sure.
So is there anything that you, in all these years of doing this, that you haven't accomplished yet that is in your sights as a goal to that you want to do? Somebody you want to play with, a tour you want to go on, music you want to write, whatever it is?
yeah, there's always goals and ever changing goals and bucket lists kind of things, if you will. But we've still not done Japan. Um,
Really?
yeah, it's been lined up like a numerous times. Like we were supposed to go before COVID, and COVID hit, and then there was a visa issue. And it's just like, oh my god, are we ever going to go to this place? So Japan's definitely something we want to do. There's loads of bands I want to tour with that I've never actually got on the road with. I mean, you can set your sights as high as you want. You know what I mean? It's like I would like
Yeah.
to play with Pantera and Slayer and Slipknot, but those goals are a little bit fantastical, if you know what I mean. It's a fantasy idea. It's not impossible, but those are the sort of things you'd love to do. But yeah, there's plenty of bands in the genre that we still not toured with. I mean, we've never gone on the road with Whitechapel, which is another metal blade artist, and kind of a legendary band around the scene. It's crazy that certain bands we've just not managed to get on the road with. So yeah, I'm always setting up goals. I've always got things I want to do. So as long as you've got that fire in your belly, that's kind of what keeps you going, right?
Exactly. And I've actually personally seen you, like I do all these festivals. I've personally seen you at Download and at Bloodstock. Do you know how they described your set at Bloodstock?
No, please tell me.
Blistering. That's the description of your set at Bloodstock. It's like it says they did a blistering set at Bloodstock.
That works, man. I like that. I like that a lot.
That's a great compliment, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Is there a festival that you guys have played that's your favorite to play?
Oh, good question. Hellfest is probably up there. Hellfest was quite amazing.
Right.
The first time we did Download was great. Yeah, there's been a few, but there's also been a few we've not done. We've never done Wacken before, and that's another goal that I would like to do Wacken down the road.
Yeah, you definitely have to do that festival for sure. But Hellfest, I think that's my favorite in the world, and I do like a whole crap load of them all year. But Hellfest is like another animal,
it's so good.
And just what I love about it is how it's decorated, how there's like hidden stages, places like you'll be walking back in the merch area, and there's like a stage on the roof somebody's playing. It's kind of cool. And then how they segregate the genres off of the other stages that are not the main stages. Yeah. Like, I think that is brilliant, because when you're into a specific genre, who wants to walk back and forth through a festival that size like every set? So like you could be like, I remember just sitting there all day last year. Was it last year, I think? And they had the thrash metal stage, and I'm a total thrash metalhead. So I was pretty much there the whole day, when I wasn't doing the interviews. And then before that, I remember, I would sit there. The black metal and the death metal stages are right next to each other. I'm like, oh, I don't have to move. I can just stand right here, It is kind of cool. And, Lemmy, that's a scene in and of itself, that big sculpture of Lenny. It's pretty wild. Lemmy, it's pretty wild. What would you say was your favorite part of Hellfest, you think?
I don't know if it's changed, because I've not been there for a few years now, but just the catering area, which kind of overlooks the main stages, and you can just get a beer and stand on the terrace and just watch, Judas Priest, Gojira, or Korn, and just like, this is incredible. So yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Obviously enjoyed playing, and the tent was full and stuff, but just the after show and being still on the terraces watching the main stage was quite something special, man.
See, that is pretty cool, because most festivals, that's not where catering is. So It's like so many artist friends of mine, it's like sometimes they have to make a choice. Are they going to eat or go catch a set?
Yeah.
So that's where that's perfect. Is there anything else you want to tell the listeners about you guys, about your tour, about Denigration, or anything else you got going on the rest of the year?
Well, Chaos and Carnage is about to wrap up. We've got 3 shows left. So I guess, big shout out to people that came out to this tour. It's been one for the books. And in 2 months' time, we head out to doing a full Canadian tour with Angel Maker and Disfigure and the Goddess. So if you're tuning into this and you want to come and see us again, and you're in Canada, come check us out, man.
Nice. Well, I love your music. I love the new album. Everybody has to check it out and get it. And they also have to buy your merch because they can't listen to my show unless they buy your merch. It's the only way you get to the next gig. People don't realize.
Honestly, that is literally the only way we make money is people, the listeners and fans actually picking up merchandise and stuff. So yeah, it means a lot. But I mean, like you said, if anyone's after merchandise, you can head over to ingested.co.uk and there are all the relevant links to your territory, US, Europe, Australia, etc. So it's the best place to get it.
Nice. Well, thanks a lot for making us great music and great therapy, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.